don't have to run away from your job tomorrow, but maybe think about what would make you, are you in something that's making you feel alive? Hey, Dave here from the Breakfast with Manny podcast, which comes from when my co-host Emmanuel, also known as Manny, and I used to meet regularly for breakfast. When we were discussing the shifting landscape of manhood, mostly by sharing our experiences and our struggles, as well as my coaching courses and my entrepreneurial experience, we realized many men could benefit from discussing these topics. So Breakfast with Manny is going to explore the unseen patterns that sabotage men from realizing their potential, healing, and getting the life, sex, career, and health they want, leading to a healthy masculine life.
What's up, dude?
Hey, man. What's up?
How are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm good.
So?
Bit of a different episode today.
Yep. This is it.
So what's going on? Can you tell our audience?
So, Manny and I, this was a passion project. It wasn't something we were looking to make a living at. And I do think a podcast needs a lot of attention and a lot of love. And we're kind of guys with a podcast, not like podcasters. And so... Manny, at your age, you're getting towards 30, I guess, at some point. Yep. Life gets in the way a bit. You got busy. We had a good heart-to-heart talk, and we looked at each other and we realized that, it's time for the final episode of Breakfast with Manny. It's been an incredible ride. Like, I've enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, same. Yeah. And I mean, the reality is the reason why we created this was for people who were struggling, guys specifically, but also women now who were struggling and wanting to listen to maybe some of the experiences we've been through and things we thought could potentially help. And I think we did this throughout every single episode, and we plan on doing this episode as well, right?
Yeah, big time. So this is gonna be the grab bag episode. So we're gonna jam a season into one episode. But before we start, man, I guess maybe just give them a quick update as what you've been up to, because we've been on a break for a while.
Yep.
And then we realized, okay, we better just wrap it up. But what's going on? What's up with you?
So on my end, it's been a lot of traveling, a lot of hard work, a lot of discovering myself, I'd say. I think this has been a kind of the last couple of years I've been trying to see where I think I fit in this world, as in, where are my strengths, what I'm trying to accomplish here. Yeah. And so, work is taking a lot of time. I've tried to also strengthen my relationship. And it's just a continued work in progress, I would say. So cool. I've been busy with all of this in my mind. And I think the pod was also adding one more element to it. Yeah. It's gonna be now a new chapter on our end, but for me, every single episode was just a great time. Yeah. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I started to feel the energy of guilt a bit. I knew you were really busy.
We had a conversation at one point at the beginning.
I was pulling you and it didn't feel right. So, it was cool. We were able to just connect and go like, hey, how's this feel, dude?
Yeah. And I appreciate you basically, you went straight to the topic and say, hey, dude, I feel the energy is not there anymore. Maybe we should,
wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up. But yeah, still a lot of content and things to cover, though, I would say in general and on your end specifically, because I think you have a lot to bring to this world, and like in terms of help as well.
Sure.
Yeah, this is the end and the new beginning, I would say.
Yeah. Tell me before we start, what have you decided about your place in the world?
So, listen, it's this continuous work. I want to give more. That's something I've realized. I want to give more. But also I want to really live and enjoy my life, as I'm realizing that just time flies and it's just never ending. I'm looking at pictures already from like 5, 6, 10 years. And I'm like, wow, this is just passing by so early. So I'm trying to right now on really trying to find exactly what I'm really strong at and what I need to be doing in this world. And I want to just be laser focused on that.
Love it. Yeah.
So that's my mission right now.
Okay. Actually, that dovetails into one of the topics that I'm just going to throw in right now, and that is, so for me, my journey, for those of you who don't know me, like I was a CEO, I owned a company for many years. It kind of blew up. So, when I started, it was interesting. Like my company kind of blew up, felt like a big fail, lost a bunch of money, pretty much felt shitty, a lot of shame and stuff, and then. As I've grown into what I feel really lights me up, which is being a coach, it brings me into this thing around, is what you're doing making you feel more alive or less alive? And I realized, like, even though I liked my old job for a while, there came a point where I was sitting at my desk kind of like
dead, just,
zombie. And I'm noticing, and I'm one of them, I'm noticing a lot of dudes like just not full, like I can't feel them. Like are you fully alive, my brother? And a lot of guys is like,
Or not.
they do the same shit, or they doom scroll. I doom scroll. You know, when you're doom scrolling, or you're maybe drinking, or you're running around, or you're trying to cope with all this stuff. And what it brought me to, which is like point number one for today, is I realized, and I also did some reading, a great book by Osho called Fear, where he talked about if you can't embrace death, then how can you embrace life? Because they go together. Different sides of the same coin. And I was like, holy shit. And the other thing is, I know, like, there's been research to show the more you contemplate your mortality, the happier you are. And I now know why. Because if you're scared and you're contracted, life isn't very good. So, like, It's funny. I have a guy that I'm working with, great guy, got some really big anxiety. And he was telling me and as soon as I read that book, of course it comes up. He's like, dude, I'm just scared of dying. And you know what Osho says that I thought was fascinating? He goes, how could you be scared of dying? You don't even know what it is.
Right.
You might be scared of the way you die, but to be scared of death. And what I find, there's just this lack of aliveness in a lot of us. And I put my hand up. I've been through it, but it's interesting for me to see the difference.
Yeah.
And so that's point one, is like, let's contemplate, like, we're going to die one day.
Oh, for sure.
Fuck the little shit. Like, stop it. Stop
worrying about
like,
little shit.
oh, there's a scratch on my car. Like, nobody likes a scratch on their car,
But get over
there's
it.
bigger shit to handle, right?
It's been what, about a year and a half that the business.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. If you look at the pre and post life of Dave,
Yeah.
how do you see the difference?
Man, it's a great question. I love that question. I feel I've had many more moments of fear, but feeling fear is being alive. It's part of being alive. I've also felt moments of overcoming fear. But I mean, when I'm very fortunate, like, I feel called to coach, like, and my coaching practice has actually gone way up. And I'm going to talk about this later. I identified, who do I need to be more successful as a coach? And my number one is be consistent. Consistently reach out, consistently look for new opportunities. So, like, I changed my being state. I didn't do some, like, tactic per se. I just changed me. So what I would say is, like, I mean, I had a woman in here live the other day, and through somatic work, which is, again, working through the body, something came up where she was like, oh my God. It was like
Clicked.
this crazy breakthrough. She goes, that was fucking 20 minutes. And so, you know, obviously that feels amazing. And so when you feel like you're trying new things, when you feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, so, you know, and materially, I would say I have less money than I used to, and I make less money than I used to, and I'm a million times happier. Which is interesting.
Yeah.
And, you know, a quick story for you. I was working with a client who had some issues with money. It's kind of an interesting story. He was sitting across from where you are now, and I brought $50 he had a lot of issues with money, and I just pushed $50 to him. And I just said, like, and then I watched, and he was like, oh, I can't take that. I didn't do anything to deserve it. Oh. And we talked about, you know, if you're going to have money come into your life, you need to receive, right? You have to be receiving. Like, you have to allow it in. But it's interesting to me. So that client, because I gave to him at one point, he's a good guy, gives me $100 gift certificate to a shopping mall, like any store in the mall.
Yeah.
And even though I make a lot less money right now, or less money, and I have less available cash, I looked at the credit card and I had started thinking about all the things I have, and I kind of have too much. Like, I have 13 hoodies. Like, I don't need 13 hoodies. But I looked at the gift card and I was like, I don't even know what I actually need. Like, I don't even think I need this gift card. Technically. Like, sure. Do I want maybe new running shoes or maybe one more t-shirt? Sure. But I didn't actually need it. But it's just, you know, I love what you said just a couple of minutes ago about finding my way to something that's super meaningful.
Yeah.
And I would encourage, like, look, not everybody can do that. We have to pay the bills, but, like, there are people that spend some of their free time on their passion, right?
But I think here, though, as we're speaking, we're in Canada, and I think we're blessed enough for most people to have the chance to discover. I think it's actually our obligation to find kind of either where we're strong at or things that we want to accomplish in this world. And maybe you're right. Most people can't do it full time, but you can start part time. That's been my mission as well, is not to create excuses for not finding, that, you know, like, yes, we're all busy, but it's your mission, it's your obligation to find time in your day, in your week, in your month to then find that and then to become laser focused. So for example, on your end, you kind of knew a long time ago you wanted to do coaching.
I did, yeah.
But you never fully took the time, I feel like, to maybe you did take your time, but I don't think you were really
no, I was too
laser
busy.
focused.
Like, I just need to make money over here. Then I'll do what I love.
Exactly. It was always a then.
It's the delay. It's
and then
you
finally,
said it. The fucking excuses.
It was excuses, and then
stop
finally you decided to go ahead. And now since then, you're super happy. So
yeah, like good story for you. Like I know someone else who's a coach, and she's been teetering a little bit, but like really dear friend of mine. But I've noticed like she talks about she's been in a job that she does not like at all for a very long time. And I asked her why she stays, and she said, "Well, the money." I said, "But you have the money, right? Like you do get paid." She's like, "Yeah." I go, "And you're miserable." And like there's dots to connect where it's like, "Oh yeah, this paycheck that I feel that I'm chained to isn't making me happy at all." So it's like, "Oh, now she's come a long way and she's really moving things forward." But originally when we were chatting about it, I was pointing a few things out, and it was partially that, right? It's like, shit. So, message to people that are sitting there miserable in their job. You don't have to run away from your job tomorrow, but maybe think about what would make you, are you in something that's making you feel alive?
Correct.
And feeling alive with a bit less money or less money is honestly, to me, way better.
With our short
like
lives, it's 100 times
with a bunch
better,
of
I would
money.
think, 100%.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. All right. So we'll move on. Like there's a bunch of stuff that's happened. I mean, I think to build on the coaching thing, what's really cool is I sat with it. I went through all the difficulties of the company closing and all my stuff. And as the journey's gone on, I've started to see like real traction because I'm consistent, and I'm also like the results have been great. And it's super cool when you're helping people. Coaching for many people changes the entire trajectory of their life, right? So speaking of that, one of the topics I want to bring up, it's just happened recently. I've had several moms and single moms reach out with issues of their sons. And so like I think a lot of our sons are somewhat struggling. There was COVID, there's job issues, there's the global shit going on. Is
there a specific age range that we're talking about, or is this kind of across the board?
No, well, I mean, I think it's across the board. This particular grouping of it just so happened I got like 3 at the same time, as like a couple of mid-20s and a couple 119.
Gotcha.
But what's interesting to me is, I mentioned earlier about the being state, and what I've noticed and what I'm helping the moms understand is like the more nervous and defensive and dysregulated and judgmental and controlling they show up, obviously the worse it goes, right? So like I want to share like one of the stories, and this is also good to illustrate some of the coaching that I do, because I like to be kind of creative, right? So for example, believe it or not, I had a woman come in with her son. It's a traumatic story. The story's a bit unique, and I can't tell it because I don't want her to be identified. But the son came in incredibly angry, right? I don't know why I'm fucking here. I'm only fucking here for her. Blah 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 blah. Like called her a slut, right? And so a lot of people would have been like, "Oh my God, your son's behavior, it's horrible." But when we dug in a little bit and we heard about this slut concept, really all I heard and saw was a young man who, he said, "I had to open the door for a lot of your dates." And like, it's just a young kid who missed his mom, right? And if the mom could sort of shift into a bit of compassion, they could connect. But she was super defensive. Like she wouldn't even, the kid couldn't talk for 3 minutes, like 3 seconds before she was like, "That's not true." Da, 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 da. And we took a couple breaths and I invited her. I said, "Look, when I imagine a receiver of something, like my image is a satellite dish, one of those big satellite dishes." Mm-hmm. And I asked the son, and the son said, "Oh, for me, it's like a hard drive, And I said, "Well, what's it for you?" And the mom, she played a lot of baseball. So she said, "For me, it's a catcher's mitt." And I said, "Listen, for the next 5 minutes, can you be a catcher's mitt?" Because the catcher's mitt doesn't yell at the pitcher. The catcher's mitt doesn't say, "Why'd you throw a fastball?"
Correct.
All it does is receive.
Yeah.
I said, "Could you practice a new way of receiving?" And we were getting near the end of what I thought was a pretty long time. It was an hour and 15 minutes. Did the exercise, and the son said, I said, "I guess we should probably wrap." And the son goes, "I don't want to stop. This feels great. I want to keep going." And so, a lot of people with issues with their children, they come to me and they're like, fix my kid. And it's like, I'm like, it's not the kid, it's a dynamic, you know?
Do you think it's one of the challenging parts is the fact that there's emotions mixed up in there? So, for example, the mom.
She feels guilty, for example, right?
Gotcha.
That's why she doesn't want to feel the shame shame's not really a feeling, but the sadness, the fear of like, oh, I fucked up. I fucked my kid up, right?
Gotcha.
You know, kind of thing. And I'm noticing also it's not just moms, don't get me wrong. It just so happens that that's been
Yeah, exactly.
up.
I'm sure it happens with
100%.
dads as well.
Yeah. But I also wonder, like, where are the dads these days? Like, where are the dads that are firm, straightforward, in integrity, guiding their sons? I'm sure there's a lot of them, but there's also a subset of guys that are a little bit absent or a little bit like overwhelmed, so busy that they're not connecting with their kids and their sons, right?
I see.
Yeah.
And that's where a kid's emotions, anger, etc., can just blow out of proportion, right?
Oh yeah, like the hurt comes out, right? You know, the hurt comes out. But you know, the other thing is I'll give you an example that came up. Two more things about this particular case is that it was interesting. They both at one point pointed at each other and said, "You've ruined my life."
Wow.
I mean, yeah, you ruined my life. And first of all, that's victim consciousness, right? Somebody's doing things to you. But I said to both of them, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize your life was over. How do you know that? Isn't your life like especially for the young man? I'm like, your life's just starting. How do you know that? Yeah. And then they're a little bit like, and then we
such a big statement to say you ruined my life.
Isn't it?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And sorry, one last thing before I forget.
Yep.
The son kept saying like 100 times, I don't care. But he was angry. So it's interesting. And I talked to her after to just say, hey, listen, like this is very difficult. And I put together a whole 6-month plan, right? But I said, this is very difficult, but know one thing. He cares. Because one thing you know, if someone's angry, they care. He wasn't neutral. He wasn't indifferent.
Yes, you're right.
Which is the opposite of love, correct? Right? Indifferent. So, sorry, man.
He's just angry. Yeah. No, I was just wondering if you already said after that one session or an hour session in which you guys were practicing that exercise, he was already more receptive and she looked like she was as well.
Yeah, but it was it went 2.5 hours. It was the longest session I've ever done.
Gotcha, okay.
He wanted to keep going. So I was like, if you're good to go, I'm good to go. So we kept going. The other exercise I wanted to tell you that I think is fascinating for people in relationship, I invited them to speak to each other without using the word you for like 2 minutes. And they couldn't do it at first, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens is they say things like this. Well, I feel you're an idiot.
Right.
Right? They're like, well, that's a me statement. Like, no, that's a judgment. Hang on. And then we got to like, I'm really upset. And then they sat in it. And then now the other person can feel them. And now they were connecting. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel you, or, don't do that. Yeah.
Not super related to this, but when my girl and I started dating, we put in kind of strict rules in regards to the language we were going to use in our relationship.
Yep.
And I remember something we both agreed on was never insulting each other. That was number one.
Beautiful.
Never ever insulting each other.
Beautiful.
And number two was never use the term you always or you never, right? And it's been, honestly, the communication side, it's been always really, really strong and good.
Yeah.
Because I think these kind of language or words that we tend to use in our relationships are what triggers something, right? When someone calls you, you're always doing something or you never do something.
It's untrue.
It's first of all, it's untrue. And also it creates kind of a reactive emotion, which then creates
Well, you're not in truth, right?
Exactly.
When you say always, never, ever, first of all, you're in ego, which is automatically separate. Secondly is you are now in distortion. You're not in truth at all. So, yeah.
But that language is being used out. I see in a lot of relationships, like very normally. People say, people don't even realize they say it
all the time.
So it becomes blows out of proportion. But to come back to your thing, I think it's great. So 2 hours, you already saw the kind of an impact at least.
A shift.
But this is a long term.
Well, it'll be a journey because, like for example, like. It was funny. I told the mom at one point, I said, like there's work for you to do, right? For example. And like after we chatted and she's like, I didn't like that. I'm like, why? Don't you have work to do? Right? Like I wasn't offended. I was just like, my intention was just to point that out. And she felt like, again, when you get into right and wrong, you're in a big problem. She's like, well, then he's going to think he's right. And I said, you know, if it were me, just a thought, he could mention to you that see, Dave said you need work, and you could go, yeah, I do, and we all do, and so do you. Like, if you want to, you could do that.
Yeah.
But it was funny.
It needs to be a two-way street.
She was
for them,
defensive.
for sure. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, don't you need a bit of work too? Like, you're here for a reason, right? It was kind of funny. We were kind of playing a little bit with it, but I just think it's interesting. What I'm seeing, though, is that in these cases, and these aren't all cases, but in the other situation, like the mom was trying to like bribe him to do some behaviors. For example, like, if you do your homework, then I'll give you an extra $100. Or if you do, and there's an element of control in that, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it's all right. I mean, control isn't connection, right? It's not that. So yeah. So all
That's
right,
a
man.
really interesting story.
Yeah. Okay. Other stories. Where do you want to go? We can go to a really funny dating story for me, or we can go to walking on eggshells for men. Where do you want to go?
So what did the walking on actually the situation trigger you? Did something happen?
No,
that you
it's
were
just
like,
I'm really tuning into it, and I'm kind
sure,
of
let's
taking
go into
steps.
that.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So a couple things. What I guess I want to get into is this, where I see a lot of us, and me included, are walking into situations where we're not speaking our truth. We're not in integrity. And one of the things I've been really thinking about lately is, you know, again, I'm an older guy, like middle-aged dude. I remember when, like, it used to say, like, it used to be the saying, like, a man's word is his bond, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, for example, like I have two situations I could talk about at my house. So one, I have an extension. The guy did the work. I pointed out it was freezing cold. He came over. He's like, wow, it's fucking freezing cold. He goes, I'm going to have to do something about this. And I'm like, yep. And then he's gone. Gone. Takes off completely. Takes no responsibility for his work, etc. On the other hand, I had an issue with my deck, and it's someone that I know. And originally I was kind of burned about it, and I was pissed off, and I was showing up in a way that wasn't going to result in anything good. And then him and we hang out once in a while, and I ran into him, and I just gave him a big hug and go, hey man, we got to talk about the deck. He's like, yeah, we will. Like, it was kind of cool, but he's going to show up and he's going to talk about his job. He's going to take responsibility. And I just think what I'm seeing in the world a lot is, like, I mean, especially from our leadership, like, empty promises. Just empty promises. And we talked about this in one of the earliest episodes. The whole thing, especially with women, around women need to trust us. And if you promise something, you really want to come through. And if you don't, notice it and make your apology and fix it. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm just wondering in the world, like, I can actually meld this into the dating story. So many women have told me, like, I'm done.
I'm done dating. I'm done.
Done dating because guys are goofs. Because you can't count on them, and they ghost you, or they just want sex. And, you know, I'm just wondering, like, as men, maybe it's time we stepped up a bit, because certainly we're seeing a lot of women's stuff going on, a lot of women's leadership events, a lot of women's coordination going on. The men's thing feels a bit fractured.
Yeah, and this comes back to one of the reasons we started this podcast. I think in the first was just to trying to potentially help guys have some sort of tools that they could use to then, I guess, search for themselves and better understand themselves. Because what we're seeing is, guys are still, not all of them. There's a lot of them who are actually really well, but
some guys are growing too. Like, I have a guy that I've been working with for a very long time who he's been on the podcast. He's been in the podcast. He's the guy who was dating a woman who he sort of told her, she thought they were going away, then they weren't. And then he was golfing. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
And he golfed, and he missed 5 holes of golf because he was trying to assuage her instead of like, hey, I'm playing golf right now. Well, he's come an incredibly long way. I got to say, like, she came at him one day and said, you know what? All of our problems in our relationship are you. So there's that always thing.
Yep.
She's like, all of our problems are you. And in the past, he noticed, he would have been ashamed, and he would have been like, yeah, she's right. And he just came right at her and said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He was curious. He's just like, what are you talking about? And then he really stood up for himself. And, you know, in the end, they actually broke up. He's like, I don't want to be with someone who blames me for everything. That's not cool. That's not the relationship I want to have. So he went from, you know, his first relationship we ever talked about on the podcast, which was sort of difficult. You know,
Yeah.
like, you're not my boyfriend is what his first woman said. He finally got over that. But, you know, he has claimed his own power, but not by being mean, but just having boundaries, you know,
Right.
not taking this kind of behavior. So like,
And potentially, maybe as an outcome, she respects him more for
I
standing
hope
up for
so.
himself.
Yeah,
Even if if not, then at least he puts some boundary, and then it's
yeah.
better
But
for him too.
we hear guys make excuses, right? So they say things like, well, I'm walking on eggshells, or one of the best famous lines, right? Happy wife, happy life. Oh, the wife. Oh, and what I see, a lot of guys aren't willing to stand up and have difficult conversations
Right.
or tell the truth.
So a question here for you though is, how do you typically deal with disagreements or instances in which your truth is not being maybe represented accurately? How do you deal with these situations? 'Cause I think a lot of men are struggling there. They
Yeah,
kind
I think so.
They they freak out. They just become silent, or
Well,
they just
you're
allow
right.
these situations to
Right.
happen. We did talk about boundaries. I think a big thing for you was boundaries, being able to say, you know,
Yeah.
this is my line, and
Yeah.
you know. But did you have any sort of strategies or tools that you could help the audience or people with?
Well, I think the first thing that I'm seeing a lot of, like, we still, and I do it sometimes, but it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, if a woman is upset and in a, what I call a bit of a storm, and she's upset, like, be there, but be there fully. Like, don't defend, don't deflect, don't avoid. A lot of guys shut down and run away. Don't do that. Just be like, well, be curious. First of all, just be curious. Because, like, this guy that I was working with, she said something like, what did she say? There was a definition thing where she said, like, everything you do drives me crazy. I just asked him, like, ask her, what do you mean by everything? Like, give me the list. So he actually knew what was going on. So curious, just receive, don't deflect, don't defend, and be like there. Be like, and make sure that the woman knows you're not going anywhere. Just be like, yeah, bring it on. I'm here. I can take it. But a lot of guys either run away and avoid. And I've seen that many times where guys will admit, they're like, I'll talk to you when you're not crazy. It's like, she's not crazy. She's just upset. Let her be upset. Let her have her feelings. Validate her feelings too. That's a big one.
Yeah.
You know,
There's also the
right?
piece of like not wanting to upset her. I see, for example,
Well,
guys,
that's a
the
big
example
one.
with the golf, for example, is
Right.
the guy is not telling her the truth because he's scared of her reaction, right? So he prefers to hide it instead, and then
There
it
you go.
becomes even more
You
intense.
hit on the biggest thing of all, which is they're scared of losing their relationship more than they are of losing their truth.
Right.
Right? So, mental note, let's clip this. That's the message people need to get. And that is the best way to lose the relationship eventually, or lose any kind of fire in the relationship. Right? It's not being willing to just speak up and go, yeah, hey, I'm on the golf course right now. I'll call you back. Done. You know? So, but I think a lot of guys tiptoe, and guys that I'm talking to know about it. You know who you are. Like the little tiptoeing, and they're like, oh, I don't want to like upset the.
I think most guys, we do
Right.
that actually.
I think a lot of guys, and I think, again, you can almost feel, I call it the squish. Like, I remember when I was with my ex-wife, and when I wasn't being conscious, and I remember the little like when I would like make myself small, and you can feel it. You can feel it. And there's a big difference. You know, I'll give you an example. One of the young men I'm working with the issue with his mom. Now, to be fair, I can't give total details, but let's just say he damaged something quite badly, a piece of property. And what I encouraged him to do, I said, listen, instead of waiting for your mom to call you, hey, we need to talk about X, how about you call the meeting? How about you lead for a minute? How about you lead your mom relaxing to know that you're becoming a man, and you're like, hey, Mom, we need to talk.
Yeah, I can.
We need to talk.
Yeah.
And he could see he had a little spark of like, holy shit. And a little spark of, oh, I'd never thought of that. Right?
I like that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think we like step up and be very comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. Right?
Yeah.
You know, but dude, I hear it all the time. There's so many guys that are like, oh, I can't go on that trip because my wife won't let me, for example.
That's so annoying.
Dude. And that dynamic is when the woman, not always, but a lot of times in that dynamic, the woman has some control and the man gets to act like a little kid. So now the woman has another son. She has a son.
Correct. She has a son.
It's fucking garbage. Yeah. It's garbage.
It's
All right, let me look at my notes. Hang on. What's next for you? You talk for a minute. What's next for you, man? Where are you headed? What's going on?
So again, as I said, on my end, it's really just discovering the what I need to focus on to kill it. I think it's probably going to be business. I'll probably create a business or build a business and then
Oh, cool.
yeah, and then work from there. I think that will be my objective, but it's just making sure I spend the right amount of time on the right thing. So that's my mission right now.
Cool.
So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I'm going to tell the funny dating story because it's kind of
Sure.
funny. And it's an interesting and kind of, online dating is not very much fun sometimes. Like it can be very 2D transactional. So at one point in the last while, this woman reaches out and she gave me a like, but she wrote something.
She gave you a like on Instagram?
A like, she gave me a like on the dating app, and then I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, we'll see. And she said something a little weird, but probably a pink flag. She said, "Your smile reminds me of my dad."
Okay.
And I was like, I like to sort of joke around. I'm like, well, I hope you have a good relationship with your dad, LOL. And I just said, hey, like, I don't love endless texting, and I do like just a nice first meeting, just to feel who we are energetically as 3D beings. And if you ever want to grab a coffee or something, let me know. And she wrote back and goes, I can't think of anything more fucking boring than a coffee with you. Now, I wrote back and said, well, I'll tell you what I wrote back in a minute. But my first line of my write back was like, I can't skydive right now because I have a sore wrist. But I wouldn't have minded if she had just said like, could you be more creative on a first date? Like that would have been no problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe just unmatch, even just a see you later. That would have been okay. But she was purposely mean.
Yeah.
And wanted to troll me. So she's like, can't think of anything more boring or something, anything less I would want to do than go for a coffee with you.
That was the end of it?
No, because
Because you replied? What did you say?
I made the choice to
Was
get...
that by the way on an app, like a Tinder or something?
Yeah,
that was
it
not
on
a
Bumble.
Instagram. That was
like
okay,
Bumble,
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
So I made the choice consciously. Like I want to stick up for myself, and I don't mind going in the mud once in a while. Like, not Gandhi. So I write back and I said, I'm not quite sure where the venom comes from. I use coffee as a bit of a strategy because you never know when someone has deep emotional trouble. Right?
Did she answer? No.
Oh, yeah. She said, coffee's for broke old loser grandpas.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, wow. Now,
Okay, she chose war. You guys don't want war.
she chose war, and I had a choice there. So here's where I made a choice to be little. I'm going to be little, and I'm going to be, and you know what? If I'm being real, she hit me in a little spot because I'm not broke, but I lost a lot of money, as I said earlier. So it kind of bothered me, to be completely honest, and
You became a keyboard warrior?
so I
Did you
wrote
just go
I
back?
keyboard warriored a little bit, but I just said, hey, again, you don't even know me, and assuming that I'm broke is interesting. And then I big timed it a little bit like a goof, and I fully admit it. I wrote and I just said, yeah, you know what's great about this? It was a weekend. I go, what's great this weekend is I get to decide, do I go to my house at Mount Tremblant, or do I go to my house in Montreal, or do I consider my travel plans in Europe this summer? Like,
And then you blocked
being a
her,
goof.
yeah.
And then I just said, and then honestly, we have to embrace our shadow. Like, this is mean. I said something mean. And I guess I had a need to hurt her back, to be honest. Like, I got to be real.
That's probably what happened, yeah.
I wanted to hurt her back.
Yeah.
So I said, I don't know who he is or what he did to you, but I hope you get over it. And that bothers me. I don't feel great about that. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't like admitting it, right? But I made a choice. But here's the amazing gift. I got a gift. There's always a gift. If you look for it, there's a gift. Here's the gift. Like every human being, I judge people. And I was like, this just taught me how wrong I can be when I judge. Look how fucking wrong I can be. And that was where I was like, oh shit, this is cool. And that's probably why I had this moment. And, as I said, I chose to get in the mud pit with her. I felt it was unprovoked. I felt totally justified, of course, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I have every right to hit back. And it was a choice.
No, this is not a common kind of situation you have on Bumble, is it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Is it pretty recent that I don't think you were not in the apps before.
It was a while ago, but it's not even, that's not even the point. Like, the point is, like, I do what she did.
No, exactly.
She's
exactly.
me. She's me. We're all connected. She's me. I trolled her back. I was mean back kind of, but I don't forget, I felt justified.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I felt justified but she hurt me first.
Exactly. Someone hurt back.
Oops.
Yeah.
I mean, good lesson to learn. If I had to do it all over again, I would have just said, well, that's unfortunate that, you feel this angry towards me over coffee, and wish you luck.
Yeah.
And I wish I could tell that story, but I can't. But so.
Do you find yourself enjoying it when you're in the apps compared to like talking to people in real life?
No,
It's
I
it's a
don't
completely
think,
different world, in my opinion.
I don't like it. I mean, I think it's just it's so easy to just go to the next person and have these non-connection
Like
connections.
a game. It feels like a game more than anything.
Yeah, I hope people can figure out a new way to date. I mean, again, I'd much rather meet someone in the real world and feel something, but
Have you tried again meeting people in the real world?
Not
Not
a
maybe
lot,
purposefully,
yeah.
but just like out of a situation, a circumstance, or
not a lot. But yeah, I'm kind of there. Like, I mean, I'm open to it, but yeah, I would just say I find dating apps are kind of keyboard warriorville.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, but it was just interesting that she was so angry off the bat.
Yeah,
So, yeah. So there you go. So and then we'll start to wrap. As I've got another big topic, and then we'll maybe talk about some memories of the pod, and then
Sure.
wrap it up. But I wanted to say one thing about, I referenced it earlier about choosing your being state as a way to have the life that you want, right? So for example, I'm working with an entrepreneur who, I love this guy, but he's got an element of like, it's not here yet. It's not here yet with his new business, right?
Okay.
And it's this energy, right? It's like compressed. And I, tried to talk to him about like, when a hose is compressed, nothing flows through it, right? And so it's interesting. It brought me back to a memory of when I was coaching baseball with like 9-year-olds. And I noticed in the playoffs, my team, they were freaking out because they wanted to win so badly. And I told them the story. And the story is I brought a tube of toothpaste to practice. And I had them like say, okay, one of the kids who was really freaking out, I go, here, open the cap and then squeeze this as hard as you can. Okay. And I said, and then I just drew the parallel. I said, the toothpaste is what you want. Okay. So in his case, this entrepreneur wants to get his business going. The other case, the kid wanted to get a hit in baseball. I'm like, look what happens when you squeeze that hard, when you try so hard. And the other thing is when your state is like, let's say, when you're pressing so hard, it comes across kind of needy, right? Mm-hmm. And neediness is a repellent.
For sure.
It's a repelling force. Nobody likes needy. So, oh my God, like nobody likes that. You move away from that, right?
Right.
So I have been talking with this entrepreneur about attracting energy. And again, it's so important that we shift. Our being state is what leads to getting what we want in life, not necessarily just going after it. And the other thing I told him, which I thought was really interesting, was just I had the feeling of, it's like, let's say him and I were driving to a park and we had the Google Maps and it says 20 minutes, but second 20, he'd be like, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Like every minute he keeps telling himself he's not there.
Yeah.
His being state is not very good, right?
Yeah, I see what you're
Versus
saying.
like, I'm on my way. I've made lots of progress. It's all coming to me. Right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people get that wrong.
I see. But you can even talk about this in terms of the sales aspect of it. Like in sales, in generating revenue and stuff like that, talking to clients is the same thing. If you're
100%.
If you're always stressed, trying to add pressure, if you're trying to
Yep.
if you're needy, then clients just, they see it and they
feel
hate it. They feel it
And they
exactly.
feel it.
And it's never a good strategy.
Well, I mean,
The number of salespeople who are always like that, it's crazy. I mean, I guess it's a stressful environment, but still.
it's tough, but I mean, it's hard to let go enough and surrender enough to let it all in.
Exactly.
But this doesn't work. The
Yeah.
squeezing doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's hard to let go. And, it's just a matter of really like kind of just settling into you. It's not the client, it's not the product, it's kind of you. And one of the things that demonstrated his insecurity or his neediness was he had a sign-up page for his, whatever his offering was, that was 400 pages long.
Jesus
Because he wanted to put more and more and more and more and more, because really, I got to get going. And this breathless panic energy is not going to work.
It's not gonna help him either, right?
No.
When you're in that state, you can't listen as well. You can't really, I guess, focus on the important things, or you're just always kind of.
Yeah. Okay,
Gotcha.
man. So to wrap up, one of the things I wanted to talk about too is the concept that we came into this with, which was we noticed there's a lot going on in the world, a lot of pain caused by men, like it or not, kind of true. I mean, if I look at rapes and murders and violence, it's men mostly, almost all. And I'm just honored to have been on this journey with you. And like, I'll never forget my first men's group I ever went to. Like I talked about it on a previous podcast, but my life blew up in 2012 and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And because I had not dealt with my patterns, my subconscious issues, my traumas, and I think we get called forward. I think things happen in life for us to literally handle and grow. There's a poetry to it. But, my story comes with one of the ways I really got a lot better was when I realized my dad was incredibly not nice and, broke things, threw things, called me scum, called me a piece of shit. It actually gave me a lot. And as I've said on previous podcasts, it gave me the ability to be what I think is a good father. And so one of the messages to the guys out there is it costs nothing. You need no fucking training to be a good father. Number one. And and what a gift I got the other day. So my kids, they're old enough to play on the same baseball team now. So they both have amazing girlfriends and shout out to Ariana and Chloe because I love you guys. They're amazing women. And they were at the baseball game. And I was explaining baseball to them a little bit, and then they just went a little off to the side. And then they saw the boys after the game, they saw them. And I heard them, and they said, wow, we got a couple of good ones. These guys treat us amazingly well. We need to hang on to these boys. And despite whatever challenges and whatever the business failures and the relationship failures and me feeling fucked up to whatever degrees, it was a moment where I could be wow, it was all worth it.
You felt proud of
them. I felt proud of how I was able to, through my father teaching me how not to be a good father, I was a good father. And I think it dovetails into where I'm going, and I'll just share a bit about where I'm going. So I feel really called to open up discussions around father-son connections, mother-son connections, man connections, masculinity, being a man in today's world. And through my coaching at Kana LifeWorks, I'm going to be doing that, and with passion and purpose. And I just wanted to share that last story just around there's just, we are not trapped in our circumstances. As much as many of us, there's so many men that have been through worse, but to many of us, who have been brutalized verbally, brutalized emotionally, brutalized
You don't have to
physically.
repeat the same pattern. You can create your new pattern. You can create your new life, your new path, and that's what you did.
Yeah, through awareness, consciousness, humility, whatever it takes. And I think we can invite, this is not goodbye. This is just the end of the Breakfast with Manny series, but there's still a lot of work to be done, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to be done. Yeah. So
Hell yeah.
How about you, man? What do you want to reflect on?
I think from my end is, by the way, that was a great story, dude. And
Thanks, brother.
I think this is overall a great experience. No, on my end, I need to make sure, again, I focus on the thing that I'm meant to do here in this world, I would say. And mostly, I need to make sure when I commit to something, I'm fully committed and I put in the work. This is a learning lesson for this podcast specifically, because you just mentioned, I think there was a set of priority that was not there, and I want to make sure for upcoming projects it's the case.
You're all in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that, man. Yeah, I love you, brother.
But it was a great experience, and I had a great time.
This is
and
awesome.
dude, of course, and we'll continue to go for breakfast. chat about our stories.
Absolutely,
And you're going
100%.
to still be very active. So for the people listening, Dave is going to be
I got shit going
active
on,
as
yeah.
fuck, helping people out. And through your consulting, your coaching.
Yeah, I have to say again, like there's one thing that's interesting, like when all the bullshit of my fear, my doubt, the usual stuff we all have, when I'm doing what I feel I'm supposed to be doing, there's just a different energy.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to be fucking doing, So
Yeah.
yeah,
But I
man.
saw the difference when you aligned there, when you realized it was this and you started actually doing it, not just saying, hey,
Right.
I will, but actually being there, then
Well,
you
let's
can
be
notice it.
honest. I was that guy who made a lot of promises to himself and broke them. So the most important, and I'm so glad this came up, the most important person to keep your word with is you, is us. Stop letting yourself down. I'm going to work out next week, and then you don't. I'm going to stop eating shitty food, and you don't. I'm going to stop doom scrolling, and you don't. Now your being state isn't very good, right?
Yeah.
So, and I have a million miles to go. Personally, my attitude is like we can always keep learning and growing and healing and shifting. Not everybody's into that, and I totally respect that. But again, I go back to like keeping your word and being a good father. Those are two things that are free. You don't really need a ton of training. Maybe a father a bit, but you can do it. Mm-hmm. You can do it. If you had a shitty father, you can reverse engineer it pretty quick. For me, I'm like, I'm not going to make my kids feel like shit. I'm not going to be all over my kids. I'm not going to like tell my kids they're pieces of shit. Right? So I'm going to close with something. Anything else, man, for you?
No, that on my end, that's it.
I will say, like, for those of you that haven't seen the Breakfast with Manny series, I would really encourage you to go back. There were some really cool guests, and we had some really meaningful discussions, And legacy question would be, when your son, your partner, and your friends look back at you, and I would include yourself, when you look back at your life, are they going to remember a man who kind of bent and ran away and hid, or a man who stood, spoke, and loved with his whole being? It's our choice. So with that, brother, I love you, man.
Cool. Love you, man.
This is great.
It was a great time.
Yeah, it's been a great run. So for everybody out there, Breakfast with Manny has run its course. This is our final episode. There's been lots of people that have reached out with amazing comments, and we really appreciate everyone who's ever peeked in here. And we've had a chance to share. And the world needs. I do think the world needs us to step up. I think it's time. We have to step up. And what I mean by step up could be personal. I think you already know what I mean. But step up, keep our word, step up, be men of integrity, step up, feel your heart and your spine. I just think there's a lot we can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
Be
man.
present, be yourself, and get out of your freaking comfort zone.
Yeah, get
there.
out of the fucking
Live.
comfort zone. Yeah, cool.
So yeah,
All right.
cool, dude. Thanks
All right.
again for listening,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone. Take care.